with the latest on the roads.
Let's start with the M6. Couple of lanes out at the moment over Shaft, that from Two-Bay to Shaft northbound. Matrix signs set to 40. It's lanes 2 and 3 that are closed off at the moment. Overrunning roadworks. Winter conditions up there making things a bit slow moving. The A592 Kirkstone Pass, that remains closed today. It's all hazardous driving because of bad weather. The A66 closed between Bluff and Bowes at the moment, so from Cumbria through to the northeast. The Appleby side of the A66, I'm told, a lot of snow being blown about by the wind in the area, so please do take care on that route. The A66 at Hartside, that's closed off. All of the higher passes affected by the bad weather today, so your Hard North Rhinos passes, they're all closed. Also the Struggle closed off. Honiston Pass closed at the moment. And we've also got some problems Oxford Street in Barrow. Now this is because of an accident that happened earlier involving a bus and a car between Furness Park Road, Oxford Road and Victoria Road. That's where the closure is, so avoid Oxford Street. And the police telling us black ice, sheet ice in some parts of Barrow today. If you can avoid driving through Barrow, it might be a good idea. As far as public transport goes today, we've got quite a few problems on the trains, lots of delays and 1 or 2 cancellations showing up, so please check with your train operator before you travel. As far as the planes go today, it's Manchester Airport that's bore the brunt of the bad weather. Their runway is now closed until midday. No flights going in or out of Manchester until at least midday. We're hoping for an update fairly soon on this. You're advised to check with your airline before you travel. We're advising people to check in as normal earlier, but now you're asked to check with your airline before you travel. Any information you've got for me, and please only call the travel line if you've got travel information to give me. I can't give you travel information over the phone, I'm afraid. Keep listening for our next bulletin in half an hour, but if you've information for me, 0845 305 3939. How things looking in the western county, particularly on the A595.
This morning is closed. The southbound carriageway blocked due to an ice and the accidents at the Holmeswood Road as well. On the M58, if you're travelling there at the moment, there's stationary traffic and more delays between Junction 5 at Upholland and Junction 26. That's where it meets the Oral interchange. And also the M61 southbound as well, very heavy traffic there between Junction 8 and Junction 1. That's the Swinton interchange. Very busy in and around Lancaster. You're going to queue around Denny Brett Lane and also right the way through around Dalton Square as well, and Brock Street, all around George Street. It's very busy there. Also busy on the A59 through Ormskirk this morning, queuing traffic from Southport Road through to Downfield Road, and problems on public transport. Check before you travel as well, because the trains are delayed and several bus services have been cancelled today. Also flights in and out of Manchester Airport are all cancelled until at least 12 midday this afternoon. We will keep you up to date. If you do spot anything and it's safe and legal to do so, then call in on 0800 07 25207.
On FM,
AM,
digital
and online.
right across the county.
BBC Radio Lancashire.
Coming up, problems helping the Gurkhas and a new signing for North End. It's 11 o'clock. I'm Alex Worth. Good morning. You're being urged to stay indoors unless it's essential for you to travel on Lancashire's roads. Heavy snow is falling across the county. Motorways are down to 1 lane. Traffic's moving very slowly. The police are having to push vehicles out of the snow, particularly between Bamber Bridge and Lostock Hall. There's also a lot of ice around. No more flights will leave Blackpool Airport for the time being, whilst the runway is assessed and Manchester Airport is also closed. Around 3,000 homes without electricity in Charnock, Richard and Ricington. United Utilities say there are several faults which could take a few hours to repair. Another 1,000 homes in Ormskirk are also without power. Holly Rourke is from United Utilities.
Problems appear to be overhead line faults in quite remote areas, possibly related to the weather. We've got engineers on their way to them right now, but obviously, even though we've got 4x4 vehicles, the weather conditions are extremely bad, and it may yet be a few hours before we can start to get some of those people restored.
The pavement's covered in ice and snow. Claire Clark, the urgent care centre matron at the Royal Blackburn Hospital, says elderly people are most at risk.
Well, very large offices are driving them slow in this weather, so they're told to be low impact accidents. However, people do sustain, as I say, some risk factors, leg fractures. We've had 1 or 2 major incidents and accidents, but the advice we need to give to people is if you really don't need to go out, then don't go out, and certainly in terms of your elderly friends, as the neighbours say, look after them, keep them indoors, keep them warm, because as I say, they are the most at risk with weather like this.
Janet in Darwin called BBC Radio Lancashire to say she's particularly worried. She's due to have a baby today, but can't get out of the house. She told us she has no idea what she'll do if the baby decides to arrive.
What to do, to be honest, just as the work.
their school closed. There's novelty. Would be a bit stuck, I think.
And Blackburn Rovers say they'll make an announcement as soon as possible about whether tonight's Carling Cup semi-final against Aston Villa will go ahead. The first leg is due to take place at Ewood Park, but with heavy snow in Blackburn, the club say they're talking to the Football League, the police and the Met Office to decide whether it should take place. In other news this morning, a 17-year-old boy who jumped from a bridge over the M6 in Lancashire has died. It happened on Saturday night near Leyland. He was hit by a car after jumping onto the northbound carriageway. The teenager was taken to the Royal Preston Hospital with critical injuries but died yesterday. Military charities say they have grave concerns about the numbers of former Gurkhas coming to them for help. Thousands have been given permission to settle in the UK, and many arrive in the country with no money and nowhere to live. Paul Cummings from the Army Benevolent Fund says Gurkhas and their families aren't receiving adequate financial support when they finally get here.
Initially, what we're looking at is something in the region of £600 to £800 a month to maintain them until such time as their benefits kick in. The majority of them will only be entitled to basic pension credits. Many will be aged over 60, they'll have limited English, and they'll therefore have a limited ability to find work over here.
Other football news, Burnley are expected to make an announcement later today about the future of their manager Owen Coyle after holding talks with Bolton about a possible move. Coyle met with the Burnley chairman Barry Kilby last night before both parties decided to take 24 hours to think things over. Preston North End have signed Neil Collins on a permanent deal from Wolves. The 26-year-old Scottish centre-half has signed a 3.5-year deal following a 4-month loan spell at Deepdale. And England's cricketers were bowled out for 273 in their first innings early this morning on day 3 of the third test against South Africa. Matt Tyre top scored with 76 in Cape Town. At lunch, South Africa are 56 for 1 in their second innings. That's a lead of 74. You're listening to BBC Radio Lancashire News at 4 minutes past 11. So the county's weather, the wintry showers, the snow and the rain near the coast should continue this morning, but it's better news this afternoon. It should become drier and brighter. The top temperature of just 2 degrees Celsius, that's 36 Fahrenheit. Now for all the latest travel and weather details and a comprehensive list of school closures, have a look at our website. It's bbc.co.uk/Lancashire.
BBC Radio Lancashire.
With Sally Nader.
Oh, well, missus, stay exactly where you are. Don't go anywhere. I can hear you shouting, I can't, I'm stuck in the snow. Stay where you are, listening to your favourite station. Yes, it's BBC Radio Lancashire. We'll keep you up to date with all the latest travel news. We'll tell you what it's like exactly where you are and right across the county of Lancashire. You don't need to go anywhere.